AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
Hello and welcome to the Cybersecurity in Action podcast. I am your host, John Petherbridge. Today we are speaking with Niamh Muldoon, the Senior Director of Trust and Security at Onelogin. In this episode, we will cover mentorship, career progression, and the value of trust. You are joining us at the beginning of the podcast where Niamh highlights how she got into cybersecurity.
So I got into cybersecurity after September the 11th. I had started in Allied Irish Banks as an IT graduate, one of 200, and then September the 11th happened. And the executive committee in the bank, I was part of capital markets, which was the investment side of the bank, and they had a lot of corporate bankers, investment bankers traveling around Europe and the US. And they picked me from the Lotus Notes team to work with the security team on researching technologies to secure mobile devices like the PDA and phone. Yeah. And I found a product that allowed you securely get your email on your phone. And this was before the BlackBerry.
Okay, right.
I know that sounds crazy, and before the iPhone. So that was my first project that I worked on for the team. And then I wasn't qualified in security. I'd only a higher diploma in technology, and I had a degree in economics. So I was due to go back to the Lotus Notes team when Rusnak defrauded the bank. Wow. For the biggest fraud in US history of, 691 million. So the security team asked me to stay on part of the team, and my role for the next 3 years was to go around and do a health check of all of the capital markets business units. So sitting down with the traders and going seeing how they access the systems, how they follow processes. So I had an amazing experience of learning how people operate from a security perspective for 3 years. And I guess that's where my passion for human interaction or human behavior around security, because I learned from the 3 years of working with people. And that allowed me to understand risk profiles of people, depending on their role, their geographic region, the type of job they do, what their risk appetite was. And wow. I really believe that has helped me with my career to date. So that's how I got into it.
That's so grounding. It's so interesting being thrown into following up on something that's like an event that has just happened. So you had a really definitive role from the outset, and it's such a good way to learn. And how did you find interacting with all the different traders and finding the different, or assessing the different profiles, and how did that kind of tie into this new experience you're having all of a sudden?
So I was new to everything. I think I had a page of or a document of 500 pages of the policies and standards for the bank and how people were to operate. Okay. And myself and my boss, Declan O'Shea, we used to come up with this approach called the business unit health check, where we'd go in and talk to people. And over time, you get to understand, they'll talk you through how they do the day job. Yeah, you can pick up on things that aren't aligned to the policies and the standards that might have risky behavior. At the time, people had their passwords laminated or written down on stickies. So, it was all really learning. And then we produced recommendations back. I guess I was, for the first 5 or 6 years of my career, I was very quiet. I was taking it all in. Yeah. I was also studying for the CISP in the background. So I'd get up in the mornings at 4 a.m. Before going into the bank. I'd sit down and I'd study different domains, and then I'd go in and do my day job. And then when I felt that I was ready to take the CISP and I had to have 3 years experience in it, I went to England and took the exam. Yeah.
And how did you find the studying versus the reality of doing the job? Was there much crossover between what you're learning on the page and what you did on a day-to-day basis?
The great thing about the CISP is it covers the 10 domains of security, and it looks at it from a data risk perspective. Okay. So you learn the principles, and then I could see how they were applied. Yeah. So it's not just focusing on the firewall rules, it's learning how really business operates. And I'd still, now recruiting 21 years later, I'm still looking for the CISP, because with the whole privacy regulations, it's understanding data. If you really want to go further in your career, you need to understand data, because data and systems are what makes business decisions. And that's the whole grounding of information security.
Data is the reasons that there is security in place, the reasons why there is firewall, because there's data to protect.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And so your career did 12 years in banking, and then you shifted into global like kind of technology companies and betting companies. How important do you think that like an industry change like that is for like career progression?
So, I spent the 12 years in the bank, and I had various different roles, starting off as a security analyst. Then I moved from a security analyst into a compliance type of role, where I did Basel II compliance, and I did the quantitative assessment of all the trading models and validating that there was governance in place. And then I went into the enterprise business architecture function, where there was a security incident on this major transformation program. And my career sponsor at the time was a guy called Marcel McCann, and he asked me to go in and set up a function and make sure security happened. So rather than me doing the security role, I worked with the divisions and made sure the security role got carried out.
Okay.
And from that, then I moved into the assurance around GRC, putting in tools. So I felt I'd got all aspects of security in the bank over the 12 years, and I was like, great. But the bank was it was like a home type of environment, like a family atmosphere. It was very mature. And really, I was very loyal to the bank. And the day Marcel was leaving was the day I handed in my notice. He had somebody that had sponsored my career up to then.
Yeah.
And I felt, okay, now's the right time to move. I'm being constantly approached, and I just feel that this is the step to take. So I sat down with him. I had 3 job offers on the table, and his recommendation was to go to the Paddy Power.
Okay.
My God, was it a change?
Yeah.
Just a change in dynamic. I remember, I got my phone the first day, and overnight I received 500 notifications from security, different security notifications. They were on a maturity scale, and they had put in all the technology systems, but then I was brought on board to help them develop from being an IT security function to an information security function. Gotcha. So the whole understanding information as an asset, the training and awareness, working with the legal and the compliance team, reviewing our third-party games providers, writing SLAs around our security program that the providers had to adhere to. So it was the best 2 years of my life from my career perspective, going from a very mature organization into a program management role where I was doing everything.
Wow.
Putting in technology tools, One of the best technology tools I put in for Paddy Power was Splunk, which is a log analysis tool, and I architected it all out, and I joined all of the different log types from the network up, and we correlated the events, and we really saw the value of that on the day of Cheltenham. The second day of Cheltenham, I think it's Tuesday.
Okay.
And about 1 p.m, it looked like we were being DDoSed.
Really?
And you had 90 seconds to make a decision about crossing over to a solution like Prolexic, which basically cleans the dirty traffic and allows you to do the clean traffic and keep your systems up and running. So I said, no, hold off. It's lunchtime. Everybody's on their break. They're placing their bets. This is legitimate traffic. And we looked at our competitors at the time, and they'd all fallen over. So we made the right business decision.
What do you mean fallen over?
As in they'd all gone down. So instead of people going onto those sites to place their bets, they were all coming to Paddy Power to place the bets.
The other sites had crashed, so it was like, Paddy Power is still live. Let's put our money on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So again, that's really where you're understanding your business operations, understanding your data, and being able to make a risk-based decision. From the offset at the technical level, it looked like we're being DDoSed, but having that extra knowledge and awareness allowed you to make a correct risk-based decision. And I'm still grounded on that today.
Yeah. That moment where chaos is around you and you kind of stop, look around, make a call. Yeah, brilliant. Those sort of situations are real career defining, I'd imagine.
So then I moved to Workday to lead their technical compliance function and privacy. And really, why did I move to Workday? Because I wanted to have a lady manager from a security or a privacy compliance perspective side. And I was at Workday for 1.5 years. I helped them grow, put in place their privacy ethics and compliance team. I really missed the technical side of my role and not being part of the security org. So then when DocuSign reached out to me, and I had seen the role, but part of the European role at DocuSign was to speak French. I thought, oh, my French isn't really great.
Okay.
So I didn't apply for it, but then they reached out to me and I went for it and I was successful. And that's where I got working with Vanessa, Vanessa Pegros, who is now the Chief Trust Officer and Security Officer for Onelogin, who I'm now working with now again.
Brilliant.
And that was amazing. The 4 years, I never understood the difference of having a male CISO boss to a female CISO boss. And now I totally get it and understand. And she has been like my next sponsor.
Your next Marcel.
Yeah.
And what do you feel is what differences have you seen between a male and a female CISO/security leader, mentor?
For me, I had all of the technical skills built, and Marcel wasn't a security expert. He was the COO of AIB Group when I left. However, he gave me like confidence, and if you want to do it, go and do it. I'm going to support you throughout. From female, I think it's the behaviors. I think I had reached a point in my career that I needed to learn from a lady leader that, you know, these behaviors aren't acceptable, or, you know, just to give me that confidence. Yeah. So an example of that is some behaviors that I experienced throughout my career. I would, instead of confronting them, I just wouldn't put myself into that position again, which limited my career opportunities because I'm not the one at the table speaking to it. I mightn't have had the confidence. Where with Vanessa, I remember a situation within my first 2 months at DocuSign, and she just gave me the confidence to address it, and ever since then it's like no shit, Sherlock. Yeah. It has never happened again.
Oh, that's really good. Those types of people are always good to come into your life. They always make an impact. Do you think from a upskilling or a self-development perspective, if someone did not have a Vanessa, so to speak, what recommendations would you give to someone like that is their career is taken, it's on the trajectory they want to move, but for that sort of an area where they may avoid certain confrontations or anything like that would ultimately result in more career opportunity. Yeah. But is there any sort of self-development or courses or business management skills that you think are obtainable without having a direct mentor?
There is a program called the Speak Up Club. It's run by a lady called Damina O'Connor. She used to be with Business and Finance magazine, and I think for women it's the confidence to have their voice heard is really critical. Yeah. And I think that is a good group for people who really want to develop in that area.
Brilliant. I'll attach a link in the notes after the show.
And obviously it's mentoring on a one-to-one basis. I do mentor people in their 20s and their 30s, people trying to move into leadership roles. Yeah. And it all comes back down to the confidence thing.
That kind of ties well into the fast track into IT. You're on the board for that. We're just talking about it there as we were grabbing a coffee. So the people that have just graduated, or people looking to get back into work, and how they can really get into the exciting industry of IT. So what made you get into that? Were you approached about getting into fast track for IT, or how did that come about?
Yeah, a lady called Regina Bracken approached me. I hadn't really heard about it before, and I guess I'm always interested in giving back to IT, to the Irish industry and security. I do a lot of scholarship reviews for ISC Squared as well, and it just really stuck out to me that, you know, the industry has nearly a 9 million shortage right now, And this is a great way to help people get a very, very growing and exciting career. And like me, I'm an economics graduate with a HTIP in IT, and 21 years later, I'm in the industry working and I've been successful. I think it's the fear factor. Oh, I can't do it. It's bits and bytes. It's coding. There's so many aspects to information security, cybersecurity, compliance, and privacy. The people, the processes, the technology, and I just think it's a great industry to be in, a lot of opportunities, and there's roles for everybody.
There really is. I think that's the best. That should be the caption for it, roles for everybody. Because I know when I started recruiting in tech about 6 years ago, I've been doing security pretty much the whole time, but I would have been dealing with system administrators and IT support and then project management. And there's plenty of people I know in the market now I'm working with right now that have all been doing something completely different 5-6 years ago, but they're all in security in some way, shape or form now. So it's all the different skills. If their soft skills are great, then they move into more of a governance and client facing sort of an environment. And if they're technical, then they just got more and more into the technical piece and the security side. So no, that's really exciting what you're doing. And is there any success stories that come to mind from the fast track into IT?
So the Cybersecurity Apprenticeship program is probably in year 1. There's some really, really great apprentices on that program right now that I know that are going to make a career for themselves, be well known in the industry for innovative solutions that they're going to put in place.
Exciting.
I'd consider everybody to look at it. It's a 2-year program where you get trained, you're working on the job, so you're immediately applying your skills. You're going to know pretty quickly this isn't an area I'd like to work in full time, or this is an area I'd like to work in.
What's the qualification you get at the end of
it? I don't know the actual, depends on the college that you go to, but it's recognized as is it a level 7 or level 8?
Brilliant.
I
have a few people in mind that I suggest that to on my personal network that I think would be really suited to their personalities really. And you shared, or there's an article actually that I saw that was the security buzz, information security buzz, and about the hacker and the hacker, he got 1,000 employees' data, and there's a few comments on it, and one point that you really kind of highlighted was the culture and the access control management. And so do you want to just give a bit of an insight into that, the breach that happened, and why you came to that decision, as that is typically where these issues come about?
Again, as I spoke earlier around, people focus on security as IT security, cyber security, the technology, and they fail to look at how the people interact with the technology that could introduce the risks and the mindset of the individual interacting. So the whole interaction is going to be through business processes really, and for an organization or to really be successful, you need to focus on all three. From analyzing people and sitting down after that RUSNAC and doing those reviews, I really learned, when people are busy or they're under stress or they're trying to play deals, they're going to take shortcuts, or they're going to do risks in their head and make decisions. They're not experts around security or cybersecurity, so they don't know the full impacts.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you look at how everything now over the last 20 years is more digital, we're working around the clock, we're working at a more global level. So it's like data and information is accessible from any device, any location, and any time. And that's really what is the grounding factor that protects data and information. It's access control, and that's why I was so passionate about Onelogin. I was super excited when the opportunity came up. I really see Onelogin's product offering as being game changers in helping organizations protect their data systems as we move into more digitalization. So what they have they've introduced is what we're calling a trusted experience platform. So it's not just access into your data. We're building AI into the platform that will look at you, John, where you're based today, what device you're connecting to, how you're accessing the systems, and if something on your general profile changes, Onelogin, our trusted platform, experienced platform, recognizes this and it says, hey, it doesn't look like it's John from Dublin. Has he moved to New York? Let's ask him for additional authentication to prove that it is him. And of course, you know those factors.
Yeah.
And if it is you, you can authenticate successfully. So, and get in and do your job, what you need to do. But it's making it more risk aware, keeping you at a personal level conscious about the security as well.
Brilliant. So is there like an element of machine learning in the product itself? So it profiles you, but it can consistently adapt to your behaviors to profile you that bit further.
Yeah, and it really, where I can really see the platform being super impactful is around social engineering threats.
Okay.
Such as the phishing or the SMS through.
That's really interesting, and I think that's definitely a USP for how it can stand out on the market and how you guys are standing out. So that's super exciting.
Yeah. A lot of people say, "Oh, your biggest competitor is Okta." We're not even in the same league as Okta. I said we're streets ahead. We're building a trusted, experience platform, and I'm all about trust because that's going to be the game changer, and it is the game changer about why people go with different product offerings. And a crucial product offering like Onelogin, access to your data and information, you have to be able to show trust.
That is the key word. That word rings true in a lot of Onelogin's promotion, and it's just a key word. It's a common theme. It's in your title as well. It's in Vanessa's title. It's all singing off the same hymn sheet. So that's that exciting.
So I think in 5 to 10 years there will no longer be chief information security officers. I think you're going to see a change to chief trust officers. The security and trust officers are slowly taking over the role of the CIO now. Because if you look at, there's less and less on-prem. So the CIOs are going to have to upscale and be more trust security. Otherwise, I do believe that role will be gone.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, watch this space.
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into that. I like that. I like the idea that it's a real evocative word. I like it. Do you think that as well with businesses, and because a lot of these breaches happen down to human behavior and access control and this side of stuff? Obviously, the product that Onelogin have is intuitive, and it's got the certain elements of AI behind it that help to evolve it and make it streets ahead of its competition. Do you think in general for a lot of businesses, when it comes to creating security awareness to their staff, from everyone down to the front of office up to the C-suite, is there be any point behind incentivizing people that find phishing attacks or identify them and share them with their security team? And to have it as if it is a bit of a within the culture that we are all in this together to try and identify someone that is trying to impact our business. Is that something that you've ever really come across?
Yeah, so I've been involved in all sorts of ambassador programs, sentinel programs, where you're encouraging the employees to take good security action, and you're trying to advise them about risky security action. So really, I feel if you're committed to this, you look at where security, privacy, compliance, and trust fit within the organization. And I think you're going to see a big shift over the next 3 to 5 years of that role reporting directly to the CEO.
Okay.
And that was a game changer for me at Onelogin, is that Vanessa reports directly to Brad Brooks, our CEO, so I know the commitment is there.
Brilliant.
We have a dedicated security first program. It's part of everybody's roles. Yeah, we sell security and trust product offerings, but we're also looking at how our people deliver to that, and it's down to their last action. That's how you deliver trust. What is the last action that you've taken? Okay. For really to be successful, you can introduce these incentive programs, but I do believe it starts and finishes about where it reports in the organization. And to me, commitment from the trust side, unless there's a direct link into the CEO, it's not there.
Yeah, that's a really strong message. Brilliant. Niamh, thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I hope to have you again sometime.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. For more information, contact mark@alldus.com. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.